Most people's lives are broken in three specific places at the same time. Their mind is scattered and reactive. Their body is weak and neglected. Their heart is closed off and defended. They know something is wrong. They just don't realize it's all connected. And here's what's brutal. Fixing one without fixing the others is impossible. You can strengthen your body but keep a scattered mind and nothing changes. You can calm your mind but keep a weak body and the weakness undermines everything. You can open your heart but keep your mind and body broken, and you'll just be vulnerable to manipulation. The Stoics understood this 500 years ago. They had three specific rules, not suggestions, rules, that rebuilt all three simultaneously. And in the next 18 minutes, we're breaking down exactly what those rules are, why they work, and why most people would rather stay broken than actually do them. The third rule is the one nobody talks about, and it's the one that changes everything. Stay with me. Rule 1. Separate what you control from what you don't, then obsess only over what you control. Here's why most people stay broken. They spend their mental energy on things that won't move. They worry about what others think. They're stressed about economic conditions. They're anxious about things that might happen. They're frustrated about the past. All of this is wasted mental energy on things completely outside their control. And this is where the first rule cuts so deep. The Stoics said, explicitly, that mental breakdown happens the moment you start treating uncontrollable things as if you could control them. Your mind stays scattered because you're fighting battles you can't win. Here's the rule. You cannot control what others think about you. You cannot control whether people like you, respect you, or understand you. You cannot control economic conditions, other people's actions, or external circumstances. You can control how you respond. You can control the effort you bring. You can control whether you show up or stay home. You can control your interpretation of events. The transformation happens when you finally stop spending energy on the first list and start spending obsessively on the second. Why this rebuilds your mind. A scattered mind is usually scattered because it's pulling in multiple directions at once. The moment you draw a clear line between what you control and what you don't, your mind has a framework. You stop being pulled apart by conflicting priorities. Why this rebuilds your body. A weak body often comes from a scattered mind. You can't build a strong body with an inconsistent practice, but once your mind understands what it actually controls, the choice to train, the choice to eat right, the choice to show up, that consistency becomes possible. Why this rebuilds your heart. A defended heart is defended because you're protecting yourself against things you can't control. The moment you accept what you can't control, you stop needing that armor. You can open up because you're no longer fighting unwinnable battles. Rule 2. Your obstacles are the way. What breaks you is what transforms you. This is the rule that separates people who actually rebuild from people who just talk about wanting to. Most people see obstacles and interpret them as evidence that they shouldn't be attempting what they're attempting. They get rejected and think, I guess I wasn't meant for this. They fail and think, I guess I'm not capable. They face difficulty and think, maybe I should quit. The Stoics flipped this entirely. They said, what you're facing right now is not a sign that you should quit. It's the material you need to transform yourself. Marcus Aurelius said it directly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about what that means. The obstacle you're facing, whether it's rejection you're experiencing, whether it's a failure you just lived through, whether it's the resistance you're feeling right now. That obstacle is your practice material. That's what you're made of. That's what your strength is built from. Why this rebuilds your mind. A scattered mind becomes focused when you reinterpret obstacles as opportunity. The moment you stop seeing problems as signs you should quit and start seeing them as material for growth, your mind settles. You have a direction. Why this rebuilds your body. A weak body becomes strong through resistance, and suddenly you understand that the resistance you're facing physically is exactly what makes you strong. The weight that feels heavy is what builds muscle. The distance that feels impossible is what builds endurance. You stop resisting resistance. Why this rebuilds your heart. A defended heart protects itself from pain. But the moment you understand that pain, rejection, and difficulty are the actual material of becoming stronger, you stop running from them. You walk toward them, and in that shift, the armor comes off, not because it's gone, but because it's no longer needed. Rule 3. The discipline of discomfort. Voluntary hardship. Here's the rule nobody wants to hear, and the rule that separates people who actually transform from people who just understand the philosophy intellectually. The Stoics believed in something called premeditatio malorum, the practice of deliberately imagining and rehearsing hardship before it happens. But they went further. They practiced voluntary hardship on purpose when nothing bad was actually happening. Marcus Aurelius would fast sometimes, not because he was spiritual or trying to impress anyone, but because he wanted his mind to know that he could handle discomfort without falling apart. Seneca would sleep on a hard bed sometimes, wear rough clothing, bathe in cold water, not to punish himself, but to rehearse resilience. Here's what this does. Most people are fragile because the only time they've ever experienced serious discomfort is when it was forced on them. Their mind has never practiced handling difficulty when they weren't in real danger. So when actual hardship arrives, they fall apart. But if you voluntarily practice discomfort, cold showers, fasting, sitting with your own difficult emotions, going a day without your phone, sleeping less, running in the heat, facing conversations that scare you, your mind knows it can handle it. You've proven it to yourself over and over. Why this rebuilds your mind. A scattered, anxious mind becomes calm when it's been tested and proved itself resilient. Every time you voluntarily face discomfort and survive it, your mind's threat detection system recalibrates. You're less reactive because you know you can handle what comes. Why this rebuilds your body. A weak body becomes strong through resistance, yes, but voluntary hardship goes further. It means you're not depending on motivation or inspiration. You're depending on discipline. And discipline is what builds a strong body when motivation is gone. Why this rebuilds your heart. A defended heart opens when it knows it's safe. And safety comes from knowing you can handle loss, rejection, and pain. The moment you've voluntarily faced your fears and discovered you didn't break, your heart can open. You're not defended anymore because you're no longer afraid. How? These 3 rules connect. Most people try to rebuild one area at a time. They want to fix their mind first, or build their body, or open their heart. But the Stoics understood that all 3 are connected. A strong mind without a strong body means you have clarity, but you're physically weak and can't act on your clarity. A strong body without a strong mind means you're physically capable, but mentally scattered, so you use your strength destructively. An open heart without a strong mind and body means you're vulnerable and will be manipulated by people who are stronger. But the 3 rules rebuild all 3 simultaneously. Rule 1, separating control from non-control, rebuilds your mind and makes your heart less defended. Rule 2, obstacles as the way, rebuilds your mind and body and teaches your heart to stop running. Rule 3, voluntary hardship, rebuilds all 3 because every time you voluntarily face something uncomfortable, you're proving something to your mind, building something in your body, and healing something in your heart. Why this actually works, the psychology. Here's the research behind why this works. Not just philosophically, but neurologically. When you practice control, you're literally strengthening your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions instead of just reacting. When you repeatedly face obstacles and interpret them as growth material instead of failure, you're literally rewiring your threat detection system. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you're literally training your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. This isn't mystical. This is how the human nervous system actually works. The brutal truth. Here's what's brutal about these 3 rules. They require you to do things nobody wants to do. You have to accept that you can't control what others think, which means you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to see obstacles as opportunity, which means you have to stop complaining about your circumstances and start using them. You have to practice discomfort voluntarily, which means you have to stop trying to be comfortable all the time. Most people won't do this. They'd rather stay scattered, weak, and defended. They'd rather blame circumstances, blame other people, blame bad luck. But if you actually do these three things, everything changes. What changes? 6 months of actually practicing these rules. Your mind becomes so focused that you can't recognize yourself. The constant chatter is gone. The anxiety is gone. You move with purpose because you're no longer pulled in 10 directions. Your body transforms not because you suddenly became obsessed with fitness, but because your mind is finally clear enough to actually show up consistently. Discipline becomes automatic. Your heart opens, not because you became naive, but because you finally know you're strong enough to handle whatever comes. You're generous because you're not afraid anymore. And most importantly, other people notice. They notice you've changed. They don't know how to describe it, but they know something is different. You're not aggressive, you're not arrogant, but you're no longer available to be pushed around. The final truth: the Stoics lived this way, not because they were naturally gifted or special. They lived this way because they understood that life is difficult, and the only way to navigate difficulty is to master your mind, build your body, and keep your heart open. These 3 rules aren't a shortcut to feeling better. They're a map through actually becoming better. If this resonated with you, I have a question for you in the comments. Which of these 3 is breaking you the most right now? Is it a scattered mind, a weak body, or a defended heart? Because whichever one it is, these 3 rules rebuild it, but only if you actually practice them. If you're ready to stop understanding Stoicism intellectually and start living it, subscribe to Dark Psychology Secrets, because this is exactly what we're here to teach.